Hello and welcome to a short SolidWorks video. In this video I'm going to run through the modeling process for one of the exercises on the Moodle page, this lesson 3 part here. Okay, so I'm going to create, or I have already created a new part in SolidWorks and I've saved it as lesson 3. And what I'm going to do, just to make life a little bit easier, is I'm going to copy the drawing from this PDF and just paste it into my SolidWorks view. So I'll use the Windows snipping tool. You can get it at the start menu, or hold the Windows key, Shift and S will allow you to take a snip or a selective screenshot. So I'm just going to take these dimensions here and go back into my SolidWorks working area, and then Control and V to paste that in. Okay, so it just makes life a little bit easier to have the dimensions there to hand. Okay, so what I want to do is to model this part here. It's a solid part with sort of 3 rectangular features and 2 circular holes in it. There's a number of different ways you could go about modeling that part. You could say extrude the base part separately, and then these 2 sides here, you could draw those, sketch those and extrude those separately, and then use a cut extrude tool to cut the holes out. There's a number of different ways. I'll be doing one particular way where I'll create a single sketch and then use that sketch multiple times as a shared sketch. If we have a look at the dimensions here, you may notice if you look at it that most of these dimensions are dimensioned, say in this plan view here, the dimensions are all relative to this bottom edge here, and most of the horizontal dimensions are relative to the left hand side. So this is like a baseline dimensioning system where everything is dimensioned from this bottom left hand corner. So what I intend to do, the way I intend to go about modeling this, is to create this plan view sketch, and then I can use that sketch multiple times to extrude different parts of the model to different heights. Okay. So as this is the plan view, what I'll do is I'll create my first sketch on the top plane here. So that top plane is like looking down on the plan. Okay, so on my top plane I'm going to create a sketch. Go to the Sketch tab and create a new sketch here. Now, as I said, most of the dimensions here are relative to that bottom left hand corner. So what I'll do is I'll start the sketch with my origin at the bottom left hand corner. And I'm just going to rough out this shape here. I could use lines or rectangles or whatever. I'll just do it roughly using lines. So I'll do one line straight up, one line across, I'm not too worried about getting the dimensions right or anything, I just want it to be roughly the correct shape. Okay, so that's sort of the outline shape of it. I have a line down here that's coincident with the top and bottom here, but again I'm not worried about the width of it just yet. I'll do another line. So using my shortcut wheel there, hold down the right mouse button and drag to the left to get a line, and draw another line down here. Okay, you'll see there that it kind of snaps to that line, and it automatically infers that I want this line to be coincident with that line and puts in a coincident relation. And it infers that I wanted those lines to be vertical as well, so it's put in a vertical relation on these lines and horizontal relation on these lines. Okay, so that's roughly the shape of the outline. I'll pop in 2 circles here as well. So right mouse button and drag to the right will give me the circle tool. I'll drop in 1 circle here and 1 circle up here somewhere. Okay, so that is the rough shape that I want. Obviously things are not the correct size and they're not in the correct location, but I did start that sketch at the origin here, so it doesn't know any dimensions, but it does the location of this bottom of this line is defined, and the location of the left hand side of this line is defined. So any dimensions that I put in from there will locate the rest of the geometry in space. Okay, so if I say take the overall shape of the outline here, that is 90. It's 90 from here to here, 80 from the left hand side to here, 10 from the left hand side to here, and so on. So you can get those horizontal dimensions from here. So So from the left hand side, it is 45 millimeters to here. You see there it kind of rescaled my sketch when I put in my first dimension. 45 to there, it is 80 millimeters to here. And 90 millimeters from the left hand side to the right hand side. And this one as well, so this is 10 millimeters. Okay, so that's most of the horizontal dimensions there, with the exception of the two holes. I'll do those separately in a moment. The vertical dimensions then, it's 30 millimeters up to this and 60 millimeters up to the top. So from this bottom edge to here is 30. And from the bottom edge to the very top is 60. Okay, so you can see the outline of the rectangular shapes it's all gone completely black now, so that's defined. The circles are still in blue, so the location of the circles isn't defined, they're free to move, and also the size of the circles is not defined. So again, I'll use the Smart Dimension tool, so right mouse button and swipe up, and we'll say set the location of those. I'm just going to move this sketch over a little bit. Now I'm after rotating my sketch around. So what you can do to orient your camera so that you're looking straight in at the sketch is if you hit the space bar, it brings up this view tool here, and you can pick kind of the top plane, front plane, left plane, right plane, that kind of thing, or you can look at an isometric view, or there's an option here as well to look in normal to your sketch in this case, or you can go normal to a face or a plane or something like that. So if I click on that, it rotates my camera back around so that I should be. Oops. So it should rotate my camera around, so I'm looking back in at the sketch. Alternatively, you can right click on the sketch down here and go normal to with that one. So I want to dimension the location of those holes. So right mouse button and up. And this bottom hole here is 20 up from the bottom and 20 in from the left hand side. So that is 20 there. 20 up from the bottom and 20 in from the left hand side. Okay, and I just hit escape there a couple of times to close out of that Smart Dimension tool, and I can drag these dimensions around just to make them a little bit neater. It's just cosmetic. Okay, and that the diameter of that circle there is diameter 12. And that now should be fully defined. So this other hole here is 65 in from the left, 45 up from the 45 up from the bottom. So 65 and 45 up from the bottom edge. Okay, and the diameter of that hole is diameter 10. Okay, and you should see hopefully now everything in the sketch here has gone black, and down at the bottom here it says that's fully defined. So I'm going to save the changes to that sketch and exit out of it. Okay, so we have a single sketch sitting on the top plane here, but what I can do is I can use that sketch to create multiple different features. So if I go to the Features tab here, I'm going to do some extrusions. Now, because my sketch has got multiple different enclosed areas, it's not just one enclosed area. There's one area here, 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 and here, and also over here. They're what's known within your sketch as contours. So a fully enclosed area is a contour. When you're doing an extrusion, you can select one or more different contours. So let's say, for example, if I selected inside one of these circles, I could extrude that circle up by a height of 50. And I could extrude the other circle in a different direction by dragging these. I suppose actually, sorry, when I'm creating one extrusion feature, it has to be, both of those will be the same because I've selected two contours here. And you can remove contours from that selection there by either going clear selections or deleting individual selections. So in my case, what I want to do here is I want to have one contour that's the middle section here minus those two holes. And I'll extrude that by a particular height. And then separately to that, I'll do a different extrusion feature for the two sides over here like this, where I've got two contours selected. Okay. So the middle section here, the sort of base of the part, it's got to be extruded up by a height of 10 millimeters. So if I select that middle contour there, this sketch region 3, and extrude that by a height of 10. And OK that. So that will have created a feature, a solid feature, Boss Extrude 1, which is generated from this sketch 1. Okay. Now, what I can do is I can highlight sketch 1 here, and I can use that to create a separate extrusion feature. So I'm creating Boss Extrude 2, but generating it from the same sketch. So this time in the selected contours box down here, I'm going to pick this side and accidentally pick the entire thing. So I'll just clear those selections, start again. Select this side and this side here. And I want to extrude those up by a height of 40. Okay. And when I OK that feature, so you have Boss Extrude 1 and Boss Extrude 2, both of which are being generated from sketch 1. You see the icon here for sketch 1 has changed a little bit as well. It has a picture of a sketch being held in a hand, which indicates that it's being shared across these two features. But that, I believe, I think that is everything in that case. So we managed to create, just using one single sketch, we created two different features, one for the bottom part here and one for the two sides. And because that sketch for sketch 1 also had these two circles in it, and we chose not to extrude those two areas, that leaves those two holes open in the finished part. Okay, so it's a fairly simple exercise, but it maybe give you some idea that how you can work with sketches to create multiple features. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video or stop the video at that, and I'll create another video for the next exercise.